night, I went to my very first AMC Scream Unseen, where they have a secret showing of a scary movie. And I'm happy to say it was Bring Her Back by the duo that brought the stunning debut of Talk to Me back in 2023. So, did this deliver? All right, right off the bat, this movie will make you terrified of Sally Hawkins. You're never gonna want to be in a room alone with her. She basically plays a woman who I will say is still grieving the loss of her child. Her child died by drowning, and then she becomes a foster mom to a new pair of kids. So when these kids come into her home, things get a little creepy. Now, I will be vague about this because I saw it early. I really don't want to spoil. I want you to experience it for yourself. So in advance, forgive me if I'm just a little bit vague, but I really don't want to spoil this. Back to Sally Hawkins. Obviously she's this prestigious actress. She is Oscar nominated. She plays a woman in here who, while she's creepy, you do see flickers of moments where you can sympathize with her because she plays a woman who used to be a counselor for children for many decades. And so there's times where she makes you feel, even for a little bit, where she makes you feel like you believe that she cares to hear about other people's traumas from their past. But then when there's other scenes that are pretty dark and disturbing, and honestly, I'm kind of surprised that there were no trigger warnings for this, okay? Because there are animals in this movie. I will spoil this, that there's no actual like torture and killing, but there are some triggers for some hurt animals. So I do want to say that because that was kind of getting me on edge. These directors do not hold back on the sheer horror of it all, okay? And I remember they did this in Talk to Me too, where something crazy and horrible and really disturbing is happening, and they love to hold their camera on there. There were quite a few times in this film that I had to literally like look away. I had to do this multiple times because, oh my goodness, it was too much for me. It was a lot. It was very disturbing. And I don't want to say what it is because, again, I want you to go ahead and experience it for yourself. But if you have a strong stomach, you don't have that many trigger warnings when it comes to anything in horror, maybe you will have a better shot at being able to look at the screen the entire time. I was sitting next to a man who did not look away from the screen once. And I wondered to myself, is he psycho? Is he a serial killer? Because truly, there are certain scenes in this movie that made me feel like, I'm sorry, they got away with filming and showing this? This movie has to do with drowning, as I told you, in water, and there's a lot of rain, and the sound design of this will really make you feel immersed in the story because you hear like the backgrounds has like the water dripping in the windows, and then you hear certain other sounds that have to do with water that I don't want to spoil. It made things feel that much creepier. It really brought the atmosphere to life. Needless to say, Sally Hawkins plays a quite disturbing character with a lot of disturbing things happening. And so a lot of the camera work will feel kind of blurred in and then blurred out, and they'll feel distorted. And I think it's because it's trying to make you feel the way the child actors might feel in this situation, because they essentially have entered a stranger's home and having to deal with a very peculiar woman. And then I think the angles also are a nod to the fact that they're living with this crazy lady who she's a walking red flag. I would say that my experience with this movie felt kind of mixed. I really admired the filmmaking when it comes to the cinematography, and the acting is out of this world, and the concept of it is disturbing, and if you're into disturbing horror, I think you will really like this. But there were also moments where it felt like a slow burn horror, which I don't always love. You know, I love my horror to just not be too slow. So it literally felt kind of like a chart where it's just like kind of like flat, and then it's going up, and then it's going down, and then it's flat again, which is really weird to say because I still think this movie is really, again, disturbing. I've used that word a lot, I know, sorry. But for example, in the beginning of this, we're shown a lot of like quick little scenes that feel kind of like scattered, and it doesn't really come together till about the end of this, because this movie, if I haven't mentioned before, is shrouded in mystery. You know, you don't know why Sally Hawkins' character is the way that she is. You don't really know what it is that she's doing. We do get informed of that, but I do wish the movie had done a better job of balancing the mystery while also giving us a little bit more of some nuggets and some breadcrumbs so that we can try to pick up the pieces rather, okay? Because I do feel by the end of this, I don't quite have all of the answers of how the rules work in this world. Maybe that's just me, call me slow or whatever, I don't know. But I would have wished that we had just a little bit more of a balance of answers there, because much of this is a mystery. Now, of course, I cannot help but compare this to their first movie, Talk to Me, and I loved that movie, okay? And I think that movie had a lot of disturbing scenes as well, but I think it did a better job at keeping me entertained and just engaged and engrossed with my eyes on the screen the whole time. So I really love and respect that stunning debut they did. Well, this one, it just really didn't meet that kind of standard that I experienced the first time. And so I think that is a really big chunk of what is holding me back from scoring this high. Because I will say, I think I would score Bring Her Back a 3 or 3.5 out of 5. Probably a 3, because while I have rewatched Talk to Me, I don't think I can rewatch this movie. It's a feel bad time. I will also say, I did think, because of what I experienced, I did think the ending would have been much bleaker, but it ended up not being as bleak as I thought it could have gone. So there's that. Just a lack of balance in moving things forward, but also keeping the mystery so that we're not told everything in the first or second act. There wasn't enough of a good balance of that to make me feel like I love this way I really responded to Talk to Me. I do think that this is good. It just felt uneven, and I would say go watch this if you love Talk to Me, because I'm very curious to know how people will feel about their sophomore effort, because I do think they are different types of films. They have different types of tone. I will add that Bring Her Back is a lot more disturbing, okay? Because there's things that involve animals in here, there's things that involve children, and then like really young children that, you know, sometimes I feel like this is too much for me to watch right now. So if you have no lines and no triggers, go and watch Bring Her Back, and then come back in my comments and let me know what you thought, because I am dying to know people's reaction to this. Thank you guys so much for joining me in my review to Bring Her Back. If you are enjoying my content, then please go ahead, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.